What's up, movie lovers? I'm Mike, and this is Gotta Love Them Movies. You guys, welcome back to Gotta Love Them Movies, a place to talk about the stuff that you love. I'm your host, Mr. Mike Brun. I'm here all the time, and you guys, we've got some fun stuff to talk about. Like, as I discussed on the show yesterday, Kim and I just got back from Route 66 last week, and it was such a fun journey. It was such a fun ride. Getting my fingers all a little snappy there. Ladies and gentlemen, my next message is for my guest, whom I can tell has frozen. I normally, this would be the part where I introduce Eric Nepom, but I noticed that Eric is frozen. So Eric, if you are listening right now, do me a favor, hang up on Skype and call me right back. That's going to reset the connection. My humblest of apologies to you, sir. Just go ahead and hang up and call me right back. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, like I said, thanks so much for hanging out with us at Gotta Love Them Movies, for giving us stuff to talk about. Like I said last week, Kim and I went on a trip, on a road trip down Route 66. We had a blast. We had an absolute blast. It was so cool. It was so fun. We saw some really incredible things. On the show, I showed a few things. Oh, there's Eric. I think Eric's back. We had a whole bunch of stuff that we got to see all along Route 66, and man, it was a blast. We just had so much fun. Anyway, guys, enough about that's a filler, so I could properly introduce Eric back on the show. Hold on. Oh, man. Technical difficulties, you guys. You do your best to get set up, and sometimes it just doesn't turn out the way that you expect. But hey, without further ado, put your hands together for Eric Nepom. Woo, 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 woo. Oh.
Oh, so much fun. It's the greatest.
Oh, it's the best, right?
Oh, I love it. And my favorite part was that I'm looking at myself going like, I'm not frozen. I'm here. I can totally see you. I can see me moving. I can hear you. You sound great. You look great.
Oh, right back at you. Right back at you. Now, Eric, you are time traveling all the way from Portland, Oregon right now. What's the weather like?
Yeah, I'm technically in your past. We had such horrible, ridiculous storms, and that whole process is over. I am in our little town, which is just south of Portland, like 10-minute drive, destroyed, like trees down, buildings just cleaved in half, branches everywhere, power out. Everywhere else seemed fine. Like within a day or two, you drive out and, oh yeah, well, nothing's wrong, no big deal. But then, I have a tree right next door, that sort of thing.
Wow.
Everyone's good though. Everyone's safe and healthy. It sounded like no one had any major problems.
Good.
Mid-February, we have an ice storm, and then it's been sunny and like mediumly warm.
I say that about New York all the time, is that, people living on the East Coast, kind of in the Northeast, everyone's always like, oh, how bad are your winters? I'm like, they're not bad at all. We get one major snow dump a year, or maybe if we're lucky two, and then it's gone in less than a week. In a few days, it's just like it all melts itself away, and you go on with your day. That's about it. Eric, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
We're going to talk about some fun stuff. I've prepped you on a few things. We'll see how it goes. But before we jump into all of that stuff, if you haven't done so already, head over to youtube.com, type in Gotta Love Them Movies. In the top right-hand corner of the screen, you're going to see a little red rectangle that says subscribe. go ahead and click on that button. What clicking on that button does is it helps us to widen our subscriber base. And with the more subscribers we get, the more watch content the channel gets. And the more watch content, we get to make this show our full-time job. Previously on the show, we have said as soon as we hit 1,000 subscribers, the live portion of the show will be moving from Facebook to YouTube. That is going to change. I've had some interesting developments at my. Some of you know that I work as a flight attendant. I'm like flapping my little flight attendant wings. I work as a flight attendant. I'm being furloughed come April 1st again for the second time this pandemic. And that has really sped up my timetable. I previously was using 1,000 subscribers on YouTube as kind of like a nebulous number. It's like a landmark. Hey, let's hit 1,000. As soon as we hit 1,000, we'll go to YouTube for the live portion of the show. That, like I said, that is going to change. It's accelerating my plans a little bit. So we're going to double down on YouTube, you guys. So March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, the live portion of the show is moving from Facebook to YouTube. So if you are watching this on Facebook, thank you so much. But just be aware, it is going to move to YouTube after that. And if you guys have any questions, if there's anything that you guys want to talk about, any movies, any television shows, news, Comic-Con, cosplay, video games, anything, just send me an email at gottalovethenmovies@gmail.com. As long as your question or comment is family friendly, we'll make it a main topic out on the show and just give us that much more to discuss. All right, guys, with all that down and out of the way, now it's time to go in and take a little bit of today's movie news.
What?
All right, you guys. It looks like the internet connection is breaking up just a little bit. So if you're wondering what's going on, why things are getting a little herky-jerky, apologies. It looks like internet's having a hard time moving forward in that regard. So my apologies. But what I don't apologize for is our first bit of movie news today. The other day on social media, Bruce Campbell posted a very interesting, I think it was a Twitter post. We'll get into that in a second, but it should come as no surprise, you guys. It should come as no surprise that it's very, very possible, although not confirmed, it's most likely that Bruce Campbell will be popping up in Doctor Strange, which is currently filming in London. Doctor Strange is currently filming in London. And, you know, very notoriously, Bruce Campbell is known for having cameo appearances in almost every single one of director Sam Raimi's projects. So let's jump into the article here real quick. This is the tweet that Bruce Campbell put out. He said, "Boy, it was a blast working in a certain city with a certain director on a certain movie with a certain actor. It sure was." I mean, the writing's on the wall here, you guys. The writing's on the wall. We all know what he's talking about. Bruce Campbell cameos in basically every single Sam Raimi movie ever made. Not every single one, but the vast majority. And so we know that Sam Raimi is the director of Doctor Strange 2. We know that he's pairing up once again with composer Danny Elfman. Everything is coming aligned here, you guys, with Bruce Campbell saying, "Boy, it was a blast working in a certain..." I mean, like, he's so obviously saying what he can't say. I don't know. I just think this is a lot of fun. I think this is really cool. Is this shocking news? No. But it's fun. It's something that, you know, it gives us something to talk about, something to discuss. Eric, does this come as shocking news to you? Are you not aware that Bruce Campbell's in every single Sam Raimi movie? Like, how does this strike you?
He is? Don't even know who the guy is. I don't know what you're talking about. This is the equivalent of if Johnny Depp were filming, or not Johnny Depp, but if
Tim Burton?
Wow. My brain just read. Tim Burton was directing. It'd be Johnny Depp as like Fin Fang Foom or something ridiculous.
1,000%.
Like it's so ingrained in our culture that those two are connected. For me, the article kind of poses it: is he a cameo, or does he get to play our main villain which would be amazing. And that's a bigger question for me, which
Ooh.
is, because he would be a really great Mephisto
Ooh.
if that's the route they end up
Oh
going.
man, I never thought about that. Bruce Campbell's Mephisto.
And the article says it sort of as a throwaway joke at the end, but he'd be wonderful. But that being said, is he well known? The question is he well known enough in the Marvel production universe to play a leading villain like that, or would they try to get somebody with a bigger name? Which is hard. It's hard because we grew up on someone like Campbell, whereas the rest of the world, at least the younger generation, doesn't necessarily see him as a big. Yeah, I don't want to call him an A-list performer. He's a B movie.
Oh yeah, that's what he's known for.
Him in anything, so I have no complaints. I mean, he could honestly be Doctor Strange, and I probably would just watch the movie just for that if he shows up as a multiverse Strange.
I mean, that brings up a multiverse Strange. It does bear mentioning that Sam Raimi directed the first 3 Spider-Man movies, and Bruce Campbell had very small little cameos in all 3 of those films. Most notably was in Spider-Man 2, where he plays the usher when Peter Parker's trying to get in to see Mary Jane's performance, and he's like, can't get in with whatever. Anyway,
he's kind of a doorstop everywhere, actually, because in the first one, isn't he the doorstop for trying to get into the wrestling match?
He was the announcer. He's the announcer.
He's the announcer.
Yeah.
Right.
Buzzsaw. Yeah. Buzz. I forgot about that.
Buzzsaw's ready.
Yeah, that was really cool. But yeah, I mean, there have been some rumors that if Mephisto is going to pop up, who would play him? I never stop to think about Bruce Campbell. I mean, that would be kind of cool. I don't think Marvel would go in that way because, to your point, he is a B-list actor, and that's what he's known for. That's what he thrives at. It's like the David Hasselhoff, who is embraced that no, I'm a B-list actor. Somebody the other day mentioned Al Pacino as Mephisto. I mean, in Devil's Advocate, he's already played the devil before.
He has. I want to go back to what you just said, because David Hasselhoff should be in this movie. And here's my argument why. He needs to be, because it's the multiverse, and Hasselhoff has played Nick Fury.
He has. Oh man.
He should show up.
Oh man.
He should reprise his version of Nick Fury. Maybe, I mean, even as simple as you've got Hasselhoff walks in a door, looks at him, and goes, "Nope." There doesn't even have to be dialogue even.
Oh.
But based on this,
that would be brilliant. I would love that.
Oh my God, this has to happen.
Well, if that has to happen, then later on in the show, we're going to talk about Fantastic Four casting. But if that happens, you need the original Robert Corman. Brain fart. The Robert Corman Fantastic Four film. Those actors need to come back and do tiny little cameos.
I mean, we're already getting that. There is a concern here, and I know we'll talk Spider-Man as well. I think potentially, where we're just we're at a point where it feels a little awkward that we are pulling back. Batman's pulling back the Batmans. It's a little weird because we're remaking all this stuff that was so iconic, and we're going to talk about another really good one here in a minute too. I know, but that we're remaking these new actors, which is A, great, and B, terrible in some ways in my mind. And my worry is, instead of just making it new, we are going hey, you know who else is watching this? These people who now have kids who are taking their kids to see it, but they don't actually care about the kids. They're going for themselves. They're bringing their kids along as an excuse to see movies. So let's put in all their favorite actors back into the fold. Which, it's great to see them, but I think about Ghostbusters, where we saw cameos from everybody, and instead of just getting to see them in their state as the cool characters, we kind of saw them thrown in haphazardly. So it's a little bit of a catch. I'm still on the board for Hasselhoff.
This
as
even has a little
multiverse
precedent.
picnic.
There is precedent in the MCU for exactly what we're talking about. And I'll give you a 5-second count to see if you know what I'm about to say. We'll go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Any ideas?
Are you gonna go? Are you gonna do any of the like alternate Earth scenarios?
So specifically what I'm talking about is an Ant-Man. Where we're talking about like cameos from like the old thing.
Yes.
Brad Garrett, Garrett Morris. There it is. Garrett Morris was the first ever on-screen live-action depiction of Ant-Man ever. So like Ant-Man was in the comics, but Garrett Morris, who was in the first original cast of Saturday Night Live, SNL did a sketch back in the 70s. I think it was like Superman's birthday or something like that.
Yeah, it was real simple, but yeah. And of all the characters to show
up. Garrett Morris as Ant-Man shows up like to Superman's birthday. Okay, cool. So when the Ant-Man movie got made, they put Garrett Morris in the movie as like a little cameo kind of spot.
He's like a taxi
something
driver
like that.
Yeah. Like that.
I loved it. I thought it was genius. It was brilliant.
It was perfect. But that also is one of those like, hey, we are deserving of this.
Yeah.
And you know, yes, the fans are like, nah, I get it. But it's different than if they put him with a like, here, have my suit type mentality, right? As opposed to we see him show up and the people in the know who it is, and people who don't. You know, it's Superman forever has always thrown in previous actors who played in other Supermans into their films. So it's always, I mean, the problem is we're getting to that age gap where it's getting real big. So that people are getting a bit older.
It's true.
To make it fit.
Big question.
But if you go CG,
say what?
If you go CGI, I mean, Bruce could play anybody.
He could. I mean, yeah.
Maybe the cape gets a voice and it's Bruce.
Who doesn't love a little Bubba Hotep in their lives? That's all I'm saying.
I would. Maybe he just shows up as Elvis. Oh, wrong dimension.
Big question for you guys is, what do you think of Bruce Campbell's tweet on social media teasing his appearance or his cameo or whatever kind of a role he's going to play in Doctor Strange 2? Do you think he's going to have a larger role? Do you think it's going to be more traditional cameo? What are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know. All right, guys, our next bit of movie news today comes to us from Cinema Blend. It's a mixture between Cinema Blend and Movie Web, and that is this. So obviously Patty Jenkins is playing a very hands-on role with the writing and directing of Wonder Woman. And she has in the past said that she has this idea for 4 films. Obviously, the original Wonder Woman, then we got Wonder Woman 1984 just a couple of months ago, and then obviously she's working on Wonder Woman 3. But the one other kind of off the beaten path project that she has spoken of and referenced before, she's not going to direct it, at least she says she doesn't want to direct it, is a spin-off movie, which is kind of a prequel, sequel, hybrid, called Themyscira. Again, like, not a lot is known about this. Actually, let's jump into the article from Movie Web. For a second, as we scroll down, Patty Jenkins herself, when she was interviewed about it, she says, there's an arc that I have in mind for the first movie, and then the second movie, Wonder Woman 1, Wonder Woman 1984, and then the Amazon movie, which is kind of its own spin-off thing, and then the third movie, Wonder Woman 3. I'm not going to direct the Amazon project. Hopefully, I'm going to try really hard not to. It's going to be, it's not going to be easy, but Wonder Woman 1984 co-writer and former DC, blah, 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 everybody knows his name, Jeff Johns. So she and Jeff Johns came up with the story, and we sold the pitch, and we're going to get to produce it. I mean, like, this is really cool. This is a story that Jeff Johns and I came up with, and then introduced to Warner Brothers. The events of this story take place after Diana leaves Themyscira. The island of the Amazons are there. Oh, sorry, and there are some plot twists and turns linked to what will happen between Wonder Woman 1984 and Wonder Woman 3. The production of the project has not officially yet been started, but I hope to get it. I'm having a hard time like reading and thinking at the same time, but I hope we get it because I love this story. So that's pretty cool. But then Connie Nielsen, who plays Wonder Woman's mother, Hippolyta, she was very recently interviewed, and she had this to say regarding this spin-off film. She says, well, I can tell you that it's not just after what happens in Wonder Woman. There's also some other stuff in there, which is related to a prior time as well. So I'll jump back to this for a second, but Connie Nielsen is not just saying that this Themyscira movie is going to be kind of an in-between of what happens after Diana leaves Themyscira, but it's also going to help set up the third Wonder Woman film. Connie Nielsen here is saying there's stuff in this story, in this movie, whether the script has been written already or whether Connie Nielsen has had these conversations with Patty Jenkins. That is another conversation to have. How does Connie Nielsen know if the script hasn't been written? We'll talk about that in a second. But she goes on to say there's a lot of different sort of things that you can see where the story is a little bit origin-minded. Interesting. But there are also other times involved. So there's going to be a lot. It sounds like there's going to be a lot involved in this spin-off Themyscira movie. Eric, this is something that kind of hit me by surprise. I remember hearing these whispers and rumors in the past of, hey, there's going to be a spin-off Wonder Woman movie. It's going to be kind of a prequel sequel kind of a thing. I remember hearing little bits and pieces about that, but I kind of tucked it away in the back of my brain. And then when I saw this article, specifically on MovieWeb, I thought, hang on a second. What do you mean that, because Connie Nielsen, even though Connie Nielsen's character dies in the Justice League movie, we have no idea what the outcome is actually going to be in the Zack Snyder version of the film, but she dies. Okay, that sucks. But she goes on to, we find ways to bring her into Wonder Woman 1984. Now there's going to be this Themyscira prequel sequel movie. I think this is kind of cool. I think it's a great idea. There's, I trust Patty Jenkins. I think she's got some really interesting creative ideas and cards up her sleeve. How does this knee-jerk reaction to you?
It's tricky for me. If we get Connie back, we also maybe get Robin Wright back, who knocked it out of the park in the first one. I'd watch a whole movie just about that. To be perfectly honest, I'd watch a movie about both Connie and Robin being amazing badasses. But I have this giant oh no, what if? The problem that a lot of the story has in my brain is that they're in Themyscira. They're isolated. There's a whole reason why Diana leaves, and she's the only one out there. Though after the last movie, there was a bit of a teaser spoiler out there that we cameo potential person that they could easily tell stories about with another exists. And I think if they're going to tell a story in a bubble, which it feels like maybe they have to do, then they have to go into the whole of the island, as it were, which means they've got. Because otherwise, why don't we have the Amazons just out and about, kicking ass and protecting our planet? We don't need everybody else. So there's this. I think there's a weird back and forth that has to play into here. I'd love to see it. I feel like on a personal level that based on the last film, I think that there could be. I don't want, but
I hear what you're saying. I kind of feel like if this is going to be like a Themyscira movie as opposed to like a Wonder Woman movie, which that sounds like what it's going to be. I think keeping the story contained to Themyscira is fine, because it does raise a lot of questions of Okay, but how was Wonder Woman conceived? How, like,
Right.
we know that her father is Zeus, but like, how did that happen? Like, what was the and I'm not talking about, like, I don't need to see sexual intercourse between Hippolyta and Zeus. I don't need to see that. But like, because we know that she was created from
Depends
clay.
on who's playing Zeus.
What's fair. I mean, Jason Momoa coming in to play 2 different roles in the DCEU, right? I'd watch that. Uh, but like, we know that Diana was molded out of clay, and that it was Zeus that brought her to life. So that could be a really fascinating story.
Okay, I'll put the pitch out. By the way, David Hasselhoff as Zeus.
Bruce Campbell as Zeus. That would be.
Okay, Bruce Campbell is doing the clay molding, and Hasselhoff comes around ghost.
Oh man, was that Unchained Love? Is that what that was?
Yeah, Unchained Melody.
Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, there's a lot of backstory to like who, and I will contend the opening sequence of Wonder Woman 1984 was the best part of that movie. Again, to your point, like Wonder Woman 84 was not the most confidence building. I love Patty Jenkins. I love what she does. Wonder Woman 84 had a really strong concept that it just didn't feel like it delivered. The post-credit scene, I don't know. I kind of feel like we can spoil it at this point. Like, it's been out for a few months.
I would think so.
So we'll if you are watching, you haven't seen Wonder Woman 84, we're gonna spoil the post-credit scene in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. It was I can't remember the character's name of what she called herself.
What they called her this time, yeah.
But it was played by the character was played by the original Wonder Woman from the television show, Linda Carter.
Linda Carter, which you were expecting to see anyway, to be honest. Yeah. I mean, how could you not? Yeah. But to give her a different name as another Amazonian who had left Themyscira way beforehand. Yeah, I think Patty's doing a great job. And I think Wonder Woman 84 is a great example of how it doesn't matter what your desire is in the roles in making movies, that if production wants to do something, it's going to happen. And it may not be the right thing. And that there's a little more power than just having a great director and a writer who's saying, I'm doing this really awesome thing, if they're not given the freedom to do it. So it worries me that if we get a non-Wonder Woman show and we're going to get another producer oversight that may change our desired outcome.
Fair, but I'll also look at George Lucas. Like, you know, we all point to George Lucas and say, he's the godfather of Star Wars. He can do no wrong. And then we got the prequels, and he had complete creative control. Right. So sometimes, I mean, you do need the string on the kite to give it lift, you know?
Yes. Oh, absolutely.
So, I don't know.
But you're right. I would totally watch them just taking names.
I mean, I think it's a cool idea. I'm kind of interested to see what they're going to do with it. But big question for you guys is, are you excited for the Themyscira spin-off movie? Do you think that, do you trust in Patty Jenkins and Jeff Johns? Wonder Woman 84 kind of shook our trust a little bit, but do you think they can win our trust back with this Themyscira spin-off show, even though she won't be directing it hands-on in that way? They will be producing it, but are you excited for it? What do you think it's going to be about? Do you think they're going to focus more on the origins of Diana? Do you think they're going to tell more kind of Greek-type stories, which I think is rife? That world is completely rife to just go off on.
If we could get a Xena Warrior Princess Hercules kind of Themyscira show, I'm totally on board.
I think that would be wonderful. I think that'd be great. In fact, to your point, as a show, I think that if that's the direction that they go in, this could be better as a television series on HBO Max as opposed to a film.
Yeah. Totally.
That could,
based on what HBO's putting out, a great TV show.
I agree. Question is for you guys: what do you think about all of this stuff? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right. We have two more main topics to talk about. They are all Marvel. They're both Marvel related. I'm very excited to talk about this one. Comic-Con 2019. Kevin Feige knocked it out of the park. He was in Hall H. I was at Comic-Con 2019. I wasn't in Hall H when he gave this announcement, but having been in Hall H before and knowing how powerful that feels, I can only imagine the electricity in the room. Man, oh man, they delivered project after project after project. And then when you thought they were done, he says, oh yeah, come meet my friend Mahershala Ali. He's playing Blade. Boom! Like, everyone's like, wait, what? So we're going to talk about this particular article from MovieWeb. There are three different things that I want to discuss, kind of break it down. First, this article talks about, as the headline suggests, they're most likely going to start filming in 2021. Second of all, we have an official title, or rather this article is claiming that we have an official title. And then the third thing that it brings up is PG-13 versus R. Kevin Feige has confirmed that this film is going to be PG-13. It's not going to be rated R, and we're going to talk about that in a minute. But first, I want to talk about the merits of it being filmed in 2021. Let's jump into the article. I need to be clear about this first. I did a little bit of searching on the internet. If anybody can fact check this, if anybody has more information than I currently do, please let me know down in the comment section below. As far as I can tell, the two things that I want to talk about first, it's going to start filming in 2021, and also the official title of the movie being called Blade, the Vampire Slayer. I have not been able to verify. That yet, you guys. Probably. I mean, I have no reason to doubt these two things. It makes sense. They just hired the writer. We're early in the year of 2021. They just hired Stacey Osef. I think it's Stacey Osef Kafur, who is an Emmy-nominated writer from Watchmen. So once they bang out the script, I don't think it's outside of the realm of impossibility to start production, actually start filming by the middle, if not end of the year, this year. But that is gone unconfirmed currently. The second thing, Blade, the Vampire Slayer. I haven't been able to find any sources besides MovieWeb that says this is the official title now. So if you have any official sources as to say this is the actual title, please let me know. But yeah, and you know, we'll go on and talk about the PG-13 merits in a second. But Eric, 2021, is that outside of the realm of impossibility that they're going to start production, that this film could come out next year?
Oh, I can't see it coming out next year. I mean, it'd be amazing, but a standpoint of Marvel and films these days, if they do 2021, it's going to be summer or later, is my guess. I mean, I know that some stuff is filming now, and they're doing a great job with COVID and so on. But I mean, a movie like this, it may be easier, right? We've got a show that involves a lot of fight scenes, and that can all be done in an enclosed space with very enclosed people that you have a small. Said there's going to be CGI, and they're going to. And it's going to be dark. It's going to be a dark. So they're probably going to have a bit more time in the processing room. So my guess is, even if we do get filming this year and it comes out next year, we're talking November, December time, if it even comes out.
I would like to throw out October as a possible release date in time for Halloween.
That's true. That would be great.
Just saying.
It'd be awesome. I can't tell you how excited I am in two different ways, because I love Blade. Love what Wesley Snipes did. We last summer we did an outdoor movie night here in the backyard. It was a great way to socially distance. It was wonderful, and Blade was definitely on that list. We're going to start it up again here once the weather gets nicer. Blade's going to be back, whether we do Blade 1 or we do all three. Who the hell knows? But the best part about it, I mean, Blade was so iconic and so much fun to get to see it. Somebody who I think is the perfect casting in so many ways.
Oh man, Mahershala Ali, like that's like
so good.
It was one of those castings that like nobody was talking about because it wasn't. I mean, yeah, people were kind of talking about like, hey, Marvel should do Blade. Hey, Marvel should do Blade. But nobody was like really taking it seriously. And then out of the blue, Kevin Feige whacked us across the face with Mahershala Ali and said, "You're welcome." And we're all like, "Wow, I didn't even know I needed this in my life." And it's like that Futurama meme. Shut up and take my money.
Yeah. Well, that's a great example. We're talking casting, and I know we'll talk more here in a minute, but the reality is that there's this weird twofold thing. Do you get somebody who looks the part based on what your audience, us, expect to see, or do you get somebody who's just a good actor who can play the role? And then, of course, you also have that like third one of like, well, we have somebody who's super famous. Let's put him in no matter what. And I think we luck out here because I think he's not only a phenomenal.
Yeah.
Hey, who we're done.
Well, I know our longtime viewer, Matthew Wiles. And Matthew, if you are watching right now, please pipe up and throw in your 2 cents here. But he would he would throw into the mix Finn from Star Wars. His name is escaping me at the moment. Why can't I think of his name? John Boyega. Thank you. It's an ongoing bit that we have with John Boyega. But yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We get the trifecta.
Yeah.
Here.
Oh,
we get the trifecta.
Could John play? So John, let's do multiverse. Blade. John is like young Blade with like the first time he meets Whistler or something like that. He's 2099. He's a low.
He's Blade 2099.
There we go. That's it.
Mm-hmm. He's 2099.
I love it.
Oh man, who like Whistler? There you go. Like who could play Whistler? That.
Gosh.
I mean,
I still kind of want Chris Christopherson to come back. I mean,
I've never liked Chris Christopherson ever in anything. Period. I don't know. There's something about him. I just like. I just no.
He's young. In fact, he'd be two. What just dawned on me would be Clint Eastwood's son.
Scott
might just be fun to play him. The age range doesn't work.
Yeah.
At all, but there's something about not that he's top of my list as far as performers go.
Yeah.
But it might be a fun name to throw in there.
Huh.
It's a throwaway.
I mean, it's definitely something that I'm gonna have to sit and think about a little bit more. I mean, like. My knee-jerk reaction, they can't do this because he's already playing Nick Fury, but Samuel L. Jackson, I think, could play a really cool Whistler. I mean, they can't do it because he's already cast in the MCU. But anyway, other points.
Oh, what about what's his name from Star Wars? He's in the wow. I'm
Are you talking about Giancarlo Esposito?
Yes. No. I'm talking about he's the smuggler. He's in the new prequel version.
Oh,
the spy.
German filmmaker.
No. Though I know where you're going. That could be really fun. All right, I'm thinking the one right before A New Hope.
Rogue One.
Rogue One. Thank you. And his name
Andor Cassian?
Yes. Cassian. It's a weird casting.
He's really young.
But
I think he's younger. He's younger than Mahershala Ali.
Yeah.
Well, so
is Boyega. Eastwood. So like all these people.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah. Interesting. I'll have to think about this a little bit more. I do want to address 2 other things regarding Blade. One is clicked on the wrong thing. Let's talk about the PG-13. Let's talk about PG-13 rating here for a second. Kevin Feige was giving an interview. Can I get this to scroll? Sorry, you guys. Today is one of those days where like computer's running slow, internet's running slow,
Our
brains are running slow. I'm like trying to produce and talk eloquently about same things at the same time. All right, here we go. Kevin Feige had this to say about the PG-13 rating. He said, other than Deadpool, which has already established itself as a certain genre and a certain rating that we already said that we would not mess with when we started working with Deadpool, which we have. Other than that, we haven't encountered a story or a storyline or a character's journey that a PG-13 or the tone or the ratings we've been using up to this point have prevented us. I mean that.
I think that's a mistake.
You think that's a mistake?
Oh, totally. I mean, we look at the first Blades are.
But look at violence in movies, though. Look at the violence in movies. Like, you can get away with a lot in a PG-13 rating. I mean, yeah, they're not going to be dropping the F-bomb, and they're probably not going to be having giant, like, blood spurts all over the place. But, I mean, look at kind of what they're doing with WandaVision right now. It started to take a dark turn. And I'm not going to say it's as dark as Wesley Snipes' Blade. It's not that dark. It's not as dark as the Netflix Punisher or that's the best incarnation of Punisher. It's wonderful. I mean, it's not that kind of dark, but I don't know. I kind of feel like they could do some really cool stuff. Tell the story that they want to tell. I always say in Kevin Feige, I trust. I mean, Captain Marvel I take issue with, but...
I think... Okay, so that first movie, Blade, the first Blade, we got an R-rated movie. And yes, R then is more PG-13 now. I will wholeheartedly agree with that. I think there's an advantage if they say right off stop, and we're going to stick with it. We're not going to cross that quote-unquote line. I think it puts limitations on a filmmaker. I think one of the advantages of Blade was that we saw something we didn't see before. And we saw something with a bit more freedom that you didn't necessarily expect. I'm not saying that I want blood gushing everywhere. I'm not saying that I want decapitation and gore. It actually doesn't appeal to me. But the freedom you have to go, if the story or if the film needs it, if that freedom's there, if there's that wiggle room to be like, you know what, is available, like there's a little more opportunity. So I feel like the hard line stop on a film that I had students who would come up and like, what'd you do today? We watched Deadpool, or we watched Logan, right? These are movies that are not made for olds, but my dad took me to it. So if it's rated R, people are going to get taken there. So it feels like it's your limitation on the audience.
But what about Disney's brand? Disney does have to protect their brand, because if they just start putting out R-rated content, and people, I mean, you are going to push away some of your audience. I mean, Disney has made choices in the past that have done that.
My problem with that, though, is that Disney's made another choice on the opposite end. They made a choice to buy all these, and there's a point that they need to be aware that even though their brand is you can't buy it. You can't be a family-friendly company and buy Hustler and Playboy and expect not to have some crossover. So I feel like there's got to be a little bit of that wiggle room that they need to start realizing. They have to have some leeway, and whether that is even if they put it under a different company, right? They have it under Disney Dark presents Blade.
Disney Dark.
Yeah. Disney Dark.
Disney After Dark.
Disney at home, in quotation.
Disney at home after dark, by yourself, alone.
That's right. Disney alone.
PG-13 plus. Man,
it's a whole difference.
Wow.
That reaction is if they make a hard line, they're going to be stifling themselves. and I'd like them to be more creative.
Last thing that we're going to discuss about Blade is the title, potential title. Again, MovieWeb is saying it's confirmed it's going to be called Blade the Vampire Slayer, which harkens to Buffy the Vampire Slayer. But in my mind, it harkens more towards a title akin to Captain America the First Avenger, Captain America Winter Soldier, Captain America Civil War. As opposed to just calling it like Blade 1, Blade 2, Blade 3, you know, because they're going to do sequels to this.
Oh, yeah.
If they are calling it Blade the Vampire Slayer, I think it's clever, setting it up for future installments of films so that they don't just keep relying on Blade 1, Blade 2, Blade 3. That being said, I kind of just like the simplicity of calling it Blade.
Yeah, I think you get little back and forth. Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man, you know, all that stuff. So I think licensing wise, there's always a tricky scenario, right? You can't just call it Blade because people type in Blade in Google or they look up Blade or whatever. You're going to get
that's fair.
A great movie. That being said, though, I do love the idea of sort of Blade : the Vampire Slayer, Hunter, Killer, whatever you want to call it. Marvel's so, and I blame Joss Whedon for this, is that Marvel's been really good about not just calling character name on a Iron Man.
Yeah.
They're very subtle, and without any spoilers, to finally give a name to a character that we have yet to be officially named on screen.
Yeah.
So that reality of having some potential, etc. along the lines would be really great. Do I want a really long origin story again? No, I don't. But if we get a snippet of an origin story, the next movie is Blade and Friends.
Blade and Friends.
Blade on vacation, right? You know, we could have a lot of fun here. I think there's some awesome
you say that tongue in cheek, but a film called Blade on Vacation could set itself up for like a really fun Blade Deadpool crossover.
It'd be great.
What if Blade and Deadpool and Wade Wilson are just kind of like, you know what? Let's go to the Bahamas. We're done. Like, we're done fighting all this weird paranormal stuff.
No. It's not the Bahamas. It's
okay.
Hawaii. And then David Hasselhoff shows up as a Coast Guard lifeguard.
Can we get Kit to make a special appearance? if that is the case. All right, guys, we have talked Blade to death, but no pun intended. But what are your thoughts on Blade the Vampire Slayer, PG-13, starting to film this year? What are your thoughts? Do you think any of this is true? Do you think there is merit to a PG-13 rating as opposed to an R rating? I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. Jump on down to the comment section below and let me know. All right, guys. Oh, yeah.
Writer.
Yeah.
Content. I'm just saying, you give that writer some freedom.
It's fair. I mean, like, even on the show yesterday, we got news that Ta-Nehisi Coates is going to start writing the new Superman movie, and you don't hire a writer like Ta-Nehisi Coates without adding racial social commentary into it. So,
yes.
You know, all of this, all of the potential rumors of Henry Cavill coming back to play Superman, not to say that Henry Cavill is done playing Superman. I'm not saying that at all, but like, come on, like we need, I feel like this is the perfect time to tell the Black Superman story from Earth 2. And his name is escaping me. It's like Ethan. Oh, it's killing me.
Right.
Right on the, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Anyway, it's a perfect time to tell that story. And like I say, you don't hire Ta-Nehisi Coates, who is a prolific. Is it prolific or prolific?
Both.
Yes, he's such a prolific writer with such brilliant social commentary about the Black experience, about racial injustice, and just relationships of that nature. You don't hire a guy like that to tell a white Superman story. I mean, you could, but you probably don't. So yeah,
It's not worth it.
to your point.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Use your writers. Use their strengths.
I agree.
Who knows?
Yeah. What are your thoughts? Jump down to the comment section below and let us know. Cool. All right, guys. We're gonna move on. Today is just a waffle show. Today we're just waffling. We're just talking about everything under the moon. This particular question or point was sent in by Matthew Wiles the other day, where we were talking about Fantastic Four, and he just kind of randomly said, "Who do you think should be cast in the roles of Fantastic Four?" So while this is not movie news, we're just going to speculate. We are going to purely speculate for a minute. I mean, it is heavily been suggested, not just suggested, but like petitioned for John Krasinski and Emily Blunt to play the leads of the Fantastic Four, Reed Richards and Sue Storm. Ever since this was announced, like 2 years ago or a year, like however long ago that people have been talking about this, it has gotten inside of my psyche, inside of my soul. I don't want anybody to play these characters except for John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. I mean, here's my top. I mean, look at that. I mean, like I see this photo that somebody else has clearly photoshopped. It looks like it's on the body of Captain America. But I can't look at this and think, oh, John Krasinski isn't perfect. He is. Look, Emily Blunt. Sorry, hold on. Where's my Emily Blunt? There we go. Emily Blunt as Sue Storm. Like, again, having an actual married couple in real life to play an actual married couple on screen. It's perfect. And Emily Blunt is such a great actor. She can do action. Look at Edge of Tomorrow. Look at A Quiet Place. Look at Sicario. Like, she's a hardcore action star now, and I would love to see her in this role. I'm gonna give my my other picks for Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm, and then also Doctor Doom. But before I do, I want to hear from you, Eric. Like, besides John Krasinski, Emily Blunt, is there anyone else that's on the tip of your tongue?
Like, you're right. I don't want to say you're right, because because I haven't thought process, but I feel like John's not my first. Like, when I think of Reed Richards, I don't think him. But the reality is, you're right. He's tall. He's got confidence. He has definitely done that journey as an actor, going from this office character to being quite the action star and an amazing writer and director. His ability to have that sort of on off switch is so solid in a lot of great actors, where they can be both hilariously fun and turn it on and be serious. I think we've been ruined with the Fantastic Four so many times that it worries me that if we put somebody wonderful in the role and the movie gets ruined, then I'm going to feel ruined again. Like, part of me doesn't have any faith in whatever happens in the next Fantastic Four film, that they'll just, but that being said, we talked about how putting a good actor in a role and direct a Star Trek The Next Generation improvised musical show. And my sort of main thing, because we play the characters from the show, my one goal is good acting, but then right after that, like right up next to it, is I'm trying to make everyone look the part. And they both, they're not my gut reaction, but they both work. They both fit. It's the whole Blade thing again. It's like, it's not who I would have thought if you said who would play the role, but you say it and my brain goes, yeah, that works. I actually think someone like Stephen Colbert would make a really good Reed Richards.
Wow.
But in fairness, he did the voice of the Reed Richards-esque character in the Venture Brothers.
Wow.
He's got that look. I mean, but he's not the actor that
I never stopped to think.
Photoshop him in.
Wow. I mean, I highly doubt they would get Stephen Colbert to play Reed Richards. I mean,
No.
he's too busy doing his television show. But wow, that could be great casting.
He's got that look, and I think the one part is
he has.
Time has gone by, and there's something about Reed Richards. At least is the character that I picture. Whereas that classic, I'm a scientist, and it's very old fashioned looking and that sort of thing. We don't need to stick with that, and I think. We move on to further casting. There's a lot of possibilities. I think though I hated the last Fantastic Four, seeing Michael B. Jordan in it was a fine choice great. In my mind. It's like, what does that matter? It's a comic book story.
I had that knee-jerk reaction myself when I first heard it, and then once I kind of let the idea sink in a little bit, I totally came around to it. It was like, oh yeah, sure, great, awesome. I mean, he's a great actor. My whole question was, how are they going to play them off as siblings? And Sue Storm was adopted. Great, easy, done.
Great,
off you go.
Simple.
Off you go. I want to go back to Stephen Colbert for a second. This is this whole concept is blowing my mind right now. Stephen Colbert could be perfect for it. I mean, yes, he has the look, but everything that what you read, how you read Richards to be in the comics, it feels like Stephen Colbert has that same feeling. Yes, the look, but also the intellectual stimulation that Reed Richards has. I don't associate John Krasinski with that same level of because Reed Richards is the most intellectual. He's the smartest person on the planet, essentially. And now in the MCU, it's Shuri. Shuri is the most. She's the smartest person on the planet, but.
Right.
Up until that point, think about Reed Richards as being the second smartest person on the planet, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was Reed and Stark constantly butting heads about like whose tower is bigger, right? I've got more. Yeah, the non-stop sort of back and forth thing of geniuses, which is kind of great.
And also to your point, when Doctor Strange was when Benedict Cumberbatch was cast as Doctor Strange, I was like, okay, I could see that, but I really wanted Luke Evans. I really wanted Luke Evans.
Oh, yeah.
He's an underrated actor. He needs a big break. He's done a whole bunch of like big projects, but he's never really shined the way that I feel like his strengths are.
Could he play Reed?
Luke Evans? No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
I don't think so. Anyway, but I want to go on to a few other picks of mine. So here's Emily Blunt as Sue Storm. Here's a controversial one. I saw that I had such a hard time thinking of like who could play Ben Grimm, the Thing.
Oh, let's stick with Sue Storm because I asked as Sue Storm. She's a little.
I'm not familiar with Gina Torres.
So Zoe
I never watched
from Firefly. Anyway, we'll move on with that.
But I mean, there's
I was gonna say, we've seen them as so insecure characters already. We're naming actors who can play them as confident, which would be really wonderful to see.
There's so many different picks. There's so many different great picks. Even what's her name? Game of Thrones. She was married to Joffrey, but like she was also trying to kill him. Oh. No. She was married to Joffrey before Sansa. No, Sansa was never married to Joffrey. She was married to somebody else. I'm getting everything confused. Blonde-haired girl.
That's right, you're right.
Oh, I can't think of her name.
Really great, like side smile.
Yeah, she's like that kind of like evil look. I think she could make
a great Storm.
She could do that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I was trying to think of like who could do a really good Ben Grimm, and I've never like everyone's like, oh, Vin Diesel or The Rock, or like everyone's looking for like a big bruiser kind of person who's like, hey, I'm a big New York
Batista.
yeah, like Dave Bautista or something. Like I want someone who you wouldn't expect, and also you need a little bit more levity. Obviously Johnny Storm is the one for like comedic relief, but I think it would work really well if you got Jason Sudeikis to play Ben Grimm. I would really like to see that. I think that'd be really fun and really interesting. My next pick for Johnny Storm should not come as a shock to anybody. Zac Efron. I love Zac Efron. He's such a good actor. He's so underrated. He doesn't. In some ways, he gets the credit that he deserves, but in some ways, he doesn't. And my last pick for Doctor Doom. Again, I saw this and my mind exploded. Giancarlo Esposito. Man, are you kidding me? Gus Fring.
That'd be fun.
Yes, please.
It'd be a different Doom, that's for sure.
Oh man, I would love. Let's go back to this photo for just a second. When you talk about the king of Latveria, I can see Giancarlo Esposito just completely dominating the landscape and being like, yes, I am a king. Yeah. I am a narcissist. I am hungry for power, and I will do whatever it takes. Man.
Verbose, like, yes, I'm the king.
Yeah, not like Skeletor. No.
It's very subtle and methodical. And it becomes, it just shows that difference of performance where it's more believable, it's more scary, it's more dangerous, it's more unpredictable. He's willing to do a lot more. I love that casting choice. What just dawned on me for Ben is Jonathan Majors, who is the lead in Lovecraft Country, if you haven't seen that. Which I actually think...
Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, he's not the comedic. I think he's got the attitude that would work really well for either the character of Johnny.
Well, you can't go with Jonathan Majors because he's already been cast as the time traveler guy. Why can't I think of his name? In Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. So he's already playing the villain in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Why can't I think of his name? Great. The time traveler. I keep wanting to say Ming the Merciless, but that's a completely different movie. Why can't I think of his name? You guys know what I'm talking about.
I'll change. It's David Hasselhoff plays both. He does double duty as Ben Grimm and Johnny Storm.
Why not?
Since Ben's going to be a CG anyway.
Before we wrap this up, what other last minute picks do you have?
Oh man, I think the same thing. It's a comic book. Let's get some diversity. If you're gonna die hard on your sword with that both Johnny and Storm have to be siblings, then put them as siblings and get some other diversity in the other two roles. Because it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter anymore. And it would be great to see just something different. Just surprise me with something different. That's
fair.
All I think.
Totally fair.
Yeah.
Big question for you guys is, none of the, as Eric mentioned, none of this matters. None of this matters. We're just talking about dream casting. I mean, if you wanted to put, my goodness, who's a very off the wall casting?
Andy Dick.
Let's
pick Andy Dick as Ben Grimm.
Andy Dick. What a strange choice. It doesn't matter. As long as you get somebody talented, somebody who knows what they're doing.
Yeah. Please don't matter.
Yeah. I went back a few weeks ago and I watched all 4 Fantastic Four films back to back. Over the course of, I think it was like 2 or 3 days. I watched all 4.
Are you suffering? You all right? Do you need professional help? Are you
shoulder to cry on? I still contend that Rise of the Silver Surfer is the best of the 4 Fantastic Four films. I also contend that Chris Evans as Johnny Storm was perfect.
He's great.
He killed it. It was awesome.
He was absolutely perfect.
Everything else sucked.
I will not.
Everything else was terrible. I also contend the first 30 minutes of Fant 4 Stick was awesome. It was really, really good. Everything else after that 30 minutes, woof, it just fell off very, very quickly. Anyway, we've been talking about Fantastic Four too long. Yes.
What is her name? She was in Preacher. She was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She would make a really good Storm. What is her name?
Ming-Na Wen?
I'm gonna find it real quick. What was that?
Ming-Na Wen?
Is that her name?
The Asian woman from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.?
No. No, she was Flowers. Ruth Negga.
Oh.
Ruth Negga would make a really good Storm.
Interesting.
She is. I love watching her without question, and I think she would be a fantastic Storm. And you know what? I'm willing to happily say not. What would happen if that was the case?
Oh,
You would get a lot of people really, really upset. But
yeah,
I'd
you
be
would.
fine with it.
You really
They've done
would.
so much wrong. They've done so much wrong with Fantastic Four. I'd be fine with them doing whatever they want with Fantastic Four.
I mean, who knows?
But yeah,
Benjamina.
yeah, Ruth Negga I think could be a great. Yeah, she was. She's in the.
Interesting. Yeah, you guys, big question for you is, what are your top picks for Fantastic Four? Like we said, it doesn't matter. No decisions have been made. I feel like a lot of fans are already clinging to the John Krasinski, Emily Blunt force. But again, like, we don't have to stick to that. It could be quite literally anybody else on the planet. What are your thoughts? Jump on down to the comment section below and let us know those thoughts. All right, you guys.
Can I ask you real fast?
Yeah, ask away.
Of all the movies we've named, is there a movie that you would be in and you?
Of all the movies that we've talked about today?
Yeah, of all the movies we've talked about today.
Who do I think that I would fit the best?
Yeah. Or who do you just want to play?
Who do I just want to play?
I mean, obviously we're not going to.
I think I would fit best as a Bruce Campbell level cameo in Doctor Strange. I think I think that's who I would do the best as. Who would I want to play?
Yeah, who do you want to play?
Oh, man, I think I would have.
We've recast everybody in all these films. Who do you get to be?
I would like to play the villain. This is a great question. I think I would like to play one of the villains in Themyscira.
Ooh.
If they bring in like some Greek mythology into that movie, and the whole movie kind of revolves, it like spans a few generations or a few decades or whatever, and it really is the Amazonians battling against kind of like some evil demonic gods or something. Yeah, I think I would have to think about which god or demigod I would be the right fit for, but I would say kind of like an evil god in Themyscira I think would be the right fit for me. How about you?
Oh, a villain in Blade. I want to go right up against Blade.
Get your head lopped off.
I'm not egotistical enough to say I'm going to play Blade, but I will totally play a villain against him. I think that'd be blast.
Yeah, I mean that would be really interesting too. I mean, vampires. I'm all for Blade. There's something about vampires that for me it's a little meh played out.
Oh yeah, but you got Themyscira and Blade. Those are going to be the two. They're going to have some real fight scenes against their antagonists, as it were.
Or I'll throw another one in here. Fantastic Four. I would love to play the Mailman. Oh, what's his name? Ah, he was cameoed in the Jessica Alba one
Yeah.
as with Stan Lee, but Willie. Oh, what's his name? Willie the mailman. I can't think of his name.
I can't remember. Yeah.
Because my father
Did-
was.
To be clear, you kick it wonderfully.
Oh, thanks.
I think you'd have the. I think you can play the right demeanor to back and
If it was
forth.
CGI, 100%. If I had to be in that costume,
Well,
no.
yeah. Of course, it's
I am
CGI.
not an intimidating force.
None of us are. We've been.
I played I played Santa Claus in a sketch a number of years ago. I was on the sketch team called 301 Views, and the sketch was about how Santa Claus was losing too much weight, and so he got a weight trainer to come in and plump him up for Christmas. And so we ended up putting plastic all over the floor. My friend Andy Danish was the one who wrote the sketch. We put plastic all over the floor. And this was the last sketch that we did in the night. And man, we made a mess. He came in with this huge pie, and like the whole thing was like down 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I just like tried to eat as much food as I could, just cram it in. And then for the last bit of the sketch, we had a table with a blender at the end, and there was all kinds of, there was mincemeat pie, there was turkey breast, there was gravy, there were mashed potatoes, what else? Candy. There was like all kinds of just like when you mash it all together. He put it all in a blender, blended it in front of the audience, gave it to me, and I just like dumped it all over my face. The reason I'm bringing this up is I had that and like I kind of turned into like the Incredible Hulk, kind of like Santa hungry, kind of. Oh, it was terrible.
I'm picturing the interviews leading up to the movie. You look amazing in the film. What'd you do? Oh, I ate nothing but chicken breast, and I worked out every day. Hey, Mike, what did you do to play a CG'd version of Ben Grimm? Oh, well, my friend put everything you could find in the fridge in a blender.
And I drank
That's
it.
what I ate. And I drank it for 3
I put on 100 pounds. That's what you're supposed to do, right? But you're doing CG acting. You don't actually need to. No. I'm a method actor here.
Very method in this
Ben
style.
Ben Grimm weighs a ton, doesn't he? He's made of rock. I think he weighs a ton. Hey, as close to that as I can get, man. 2,000 pounds over here.
Yeah, and they're gonna start filming right away.
Man.
So
gotta keep it going. Anyway, you guys, this ends today's edition of Gotta Love Them Movies. A place to come and talk about the things that you love. Eric, thank you so much for coming to talk about the stuff that we love.
Oh, thanks for having me. Gotta love you.
Weird and ridiculous, and we took a lot of side detours.
Where the Hasselhoff has come from, but
hopefully it doesn't go. Stay. Hass.
Right here.
The Hasselhoff. Eric, where can people find you online, and what projects do you have coming up in the near future?
Oh gosh. I'm at Improv Theatre.
Not to be confused with Improv Theater.
Theater, right? It's you spell it the way as the thing you do versus where you do it at.
We have. I'm sorry. I'm gonna interject real quick. We have a mutual friend who will go unnamed. That always pronounces it theater, and I'm like, It's. I understand. I get it. It's just one of those earworms that does not sit well with me.
Oh, totally. It's wrong. It's like. I don't know. I was going to name some other bad casting, but I
totally interrupted.
Project-wise, I've got a show on Friday, actually. We've been doing our 1950s I Love Lucy inspired musical improv show called Babe Improv. So at Babe Improv. We've been bringing wonderful special guests and special all across the board. It's been really fun.
And it's glorious. If you guys have not seen Babe... why did I click on that? I meant to click on this. If you guys have not seen Babe, oh man, I saw you guys in Juneau, Alaska, playing with Chewy. I think Chewy was your special guest that particular night, from Austin, Texas. Oh man, beautiful. Beautiful people.
It's a silly show, and it works surprisingly well. It looks good on virtual improv because it's a TV show, right? It's designed that way, so it's easy to watch on a screen.
It's improvised
thankfully.
WandaVision. Think of it like that.
Yeah, it very much is. In fact, it was very interesting to watch this for. This is exactly what we're doing. In fact, it's of the same quality, it feels like, and we're not writing ours ahead of time. But thankfully, WandaVision got better.
Oh, see, I loved it right from the get-go. Episode 1, I was in.
Oh, I had a lot of fun.
I was in. Loved it.
I was worried, but man, it was, yeah. And it has gone some amazing places. So.
In Kevin Feige, I trust. I need to put that on money. Eric, thanks so much for sticking around and chatting about all the stuff that we love. Can't wait to have you back, and let's do it again.
Yeah, let's do that. It'd be great. You're amazing. We love you.
No one. Gotta love them movies. Gotta love them, Eric. That Eric. It's true. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, click like. If you really like this video, click subscribe. And if you really, really like this video, click share. Because that is exactly what the entire cast of the Fantastic Four would want you to do. Anyway, guys, I'm Mike Brown. This is Gotta Live Them Movies, a place to come and talk about the stuff that we love. We live in a weird, crazy world where everybody has their own thoughts and opinions. Sometimes those thoughts and opinions clash. So if you have an opportunity to infuse a little bit of kindness into the world, if you have an opportunity to speak kind words to each other, please, I implore you, take those opportunities. As always, in the words of Bill and Ted, be excellent to each other. I'll see you guys tomorrow.